Hi, everyone. Last week, we learned about the importance of running records and what those running records show us about students' reading skills and strategies. Well, this week, you're going to answer the question, so now what? You have the information, and it is now time to plan for effective instruction for your students. Prior to reading the presentation portion, please stop and read your assigned text for this week. I also want to point out that Chapter 4 really discusses selecting and introducing texts for guided reading. By now, you've read quite a bit about the format of a guided reading lesson, along with the research that is behind it. Oftentimes, I have worked with teachers who believe that guided reading is only for emergent readers. Well, that's not true. Guided reading is an important instructional practice throughout the elementary grades and even into middle school. The lesson focus and text may be different, but the format of the lesson is the same. Once you master the science of the guided reading format and pair it with the art of listening to and interpreting your students' learning, you will see results very quickly. Now go back and review Figure 111 on page 30 in our guided reading text. Notice how Fountas and Pinnell explicitly state what both the child and the teacher should be doing before, during, and after the reading. This week, you will be viewing a guided reading lesson in action. Refer back to that chart often when analyzing the videos below. Take a look beginning on page 332 in our guided reading text. As I've said before, this is about introducing texts. On page 335, figure 14.4 talks about what a text intro is meant to do and not meant to do. And I want to insert this at this point, which I'm going to say it many, many times. Whenever you're going to introduce a text to a group of students, write out the text introduction and the important points that you want to make during that introduction. It's easy to think, oh, I don't need to write this out. That's such a waste of time. I know what I'm going to say. Well, when you get those children in front of you, it's not always so easy. It is much easier to have it planned out and follow your plan. All right, well, when beginning the introduction of a text, the teacher creates interest in this story or the topic, and the teacher always gives the title and the gist of the text to the students. That overarching idea of what this is going to be about, the teacher tells them. Yes, during the intro, you assess the background knowledge of the students so that confusions can be cleared up. During the intro, the teacher helps the students understand the text structure so they will better understand the text. If there is any tricky language structures in the text, the intro is where you talk about them and weave that into your introduction. You're going to draw attention to key information and where it's found. If needed, draw their attention to key vocabulary. Do not pre-teach vocabulary. That is not done in guided reading. You want to prompt thinking in response to the text. You want the reader to problem solve their way through this text that you're introducing. Now, this text introduction is a conversation about the text with the students. It's not you asking questions. What is this? What do you think happens next? No, that's not it. Here are some don'ts about a book introduction. Do not say picture walk, because that isn't what the book introduction is. Yes, you are previewing the pictures in the introduction, but you're also talking about the overall idea of the story, the language of the story. Many other things play into it. Don't preview every page. Don't pre-teach vocabulary. As I've said before, the text intro is not the teacher just asking questions. Yes, you want them to predict during the introduction, but that isn't all that's done. The text introduction does not remove all the work from the students. You want to leave some work for them to do so you can see how they problem solve. There are sample text intros beginning on page 335 of our guided reading text. I suggest you read over those a couple times before you even try to begin to write your introduction. The job of the teacher in a text introduction is to tell the title and the gist of the story. Build interest in the topic. Invite conversation about the topic. Invite students to make predictions. Explain important ideas and concepts. Talk about the meaning of the whole text. Draw on the students' ideas and experiences. Leave room for the students to bring their ideas to the story. Say that unfamiliar language or vocabulary that is critical to the text. Use those patterns and vocabulary in your introduction. The students need to hear that. If there are any unfamiliar names, tell the students the names. Think about what the students need support with and include that in the introduction. No two book introductions are ever the same. Groups of students have different needs, and the text intro is based on their needs. What you do for one group won't work for another. If you have any questions, please ask. Remember that not every YouTube video is a good example. And also, please remember that this week you are only introducing the text with the student. They are not reading it yet. You're only doing the intro. There are several exemplar videos on Moodle for you to view. And if you have questions, please ask me. I can't help you if you don't ask. Remember that a guided reading lesson at the max is 20 minutes. Your intro should not be over 5 minutes long. If it is, it's too long. Again, if you have questions, please ask me. Thank you.